Okay, so it's page, let's see the number, page 32. You have page 32?
Yes.
I think it's important before we go into it just to discuss three concepts. Page 32. Okay, so now three things to discuss. Number one, there's a story in the Torah when it comes to Yosef. When Yosef became king of Melech Mitzrayim, of Egypt, second to the king, so then Paro put him in charge of all the agriculture. You know, to store the wheat, the 7 full years to store for the 7.
Yeah.
So Yosef was busy putting away, and they had these huge storehouses. And then the 7 years of the full finished, and now started the 7 hunger years. So the first year of the hunger, people sold. Yeah, they paid, they sold. But then afterwards, a year after, they already had no money. So they came to Yosef, they said, Yosef, what do we do? So he says, you know what? You guys have no money. We're going to do like a communist kind of country. The country owns all the property. We give you seeds to go plant the field, and 20% goes to Paro, to the government, and the other 80% you keep.
Like in Cuba.
Yeah, that's how it works. Anyways, but the Torah says these words: "Unesatem chamishit leParo." You should give a fifth, which is 20% to Paro. Va'arba hayados. Arba hayados means the other 4 fifth. You understand? Because you divide it in 5 parts. You understand? So you give 1/5, which is 20%, and the other 4 20%, which means the 4, which is 80%, that's for you. That's how they made the deal for Egypt. So that's what it says in the Chumash. Now, why is that important for me and you to know that Yosef made this whole communist kind of a regime, and
They didn't pay to the king, nothing?
they pay taxes, but it was you had private property. You know, as the king, you paid, let's say, a certain amount of tax for everything you did, like we pay. But you had a house that belonged to you. You had a car that belonged to you.
Everything.
Here, everything they gave to the king because they had no money. So now the king says, okay, I own the whole country. Now you become my workers.
Okay.
But I'm giving you 4 yadot, 4 20%.
450.
420.
4/5.
80%.
But the Torah calls it yadot. You know, it's the Torah uses for each fifth yad, because a yad has 5 fingers. So 1 finger you give to Paro, which is 20, and arba yados, the other 4/5 goes to you. So that's what the Torah says. So now, the Alter Rebbe here says, well, this has a much deeper meaning to it. It's not just a nice way of running a country in a communist way. Let's understand what this whole thing is. So first I want to tell you, what does Paro mean? What does it says? Unesatem chamishis leParo. What does Paro mean? So normally, Paro is the king. However, according to Kabbalah, and according to Chassidut, the translation of the word Paro comes from the word Pro'oi, like pera, like revelation. Like we have by Aharon, after he helped the Jews make the Egel, it said, Kifro'oi Aharon, like Aaron revealed their negative. So whenever you want to say something is revealed, you use the word Pro'oi. Also it says by a Isha Sota, a woman that goes a little off. So it says Ufara Esosha, reveal her hair. You understand? So the word of paroi means like reveal.
Yeah.
By a brit, after you cut the thick layer, then you're supposed to do rip the thin layer, which is called priya. Why do you rip the thin layer? So now the berit can be revealed because it still has a thin layer, so it's covering up. So the word of paroi means to reveal. So he's going to tell you, no. When you give a fifth to paroi, to Hashem, then Hashem becomes revealed. In other words, when we work, we're supposed to give a fifth to tzedakah, right? 20%. But the idea of giving 20% is not because it's like, oh, Hashem is making you a tax, you have to give to tzedakah 20%. The 20% is bringing out the revelation of Hashem in your work. So in the other 80%, you also have Hashem revealed because you gave 20%.
Yeah, but maybe we'll go a step back. How this is connected to Shir Hashirim?
Oh, one second. So this is one concept, got it? So paroi means revelation. You give fifth to Hashem. Hashem reveals himself to you. And then it lifts up the other 4/5 and it becomes elevated. So it's not, basically what it is your whole life. When you're working, your whole purpose of working is to bring Hashem revealed. How do I do it? When I give a fifth of my earnings to Hashem, so now paroi becomes revealed, and the other 4/5 also are getting Hashem revealed because that's how you were able to give a fifth. You can't give a fifth if you didn't have the other 4/5 to earn. You know what I'm saying? You have to earn 100.
Why 20%? Why not 25%?
You can give 25, but the minimum is 20.
Why not 18?
The Torah says. Chamashis, that's what the Torah says. He wants to give 25%. So I said you can give 25% to tzedakah, but the Torah says the minimum is 20.
But why 20?
The Torah says. That's what the Torah says, yeah. So that's number one. Number two, whenever we make a bracha, how do we make a bracha? We say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam. We always learn that according to Kabbalah and Chassidut, Baruch doesn't mean blessing Hashem. It means to bring down Hashem. Lahavrich. We use the word like last week's parsha when Eliezer took the camels. The camels are tall, and he brought them down, kneeled them, and he calls it Lahavrich et hagmalim. You remember, like to bring all the 10 camels to bring down. So Baruch comes from the word to bring down. Who do you bring down? Ata, which is God, and you bring him down to Hashem and to Elokeinu, that he becomes our God, and becoming our God, then he's Melech HaOlam, then he's the God of the whole world. That's the idea of a bracha. So what is he saying here? We said that Shchora ani ונאוה. We are black from the outside, but really we're more beautiful than the daughters of Yerushalayim. Last week we said, who's the daughters of Yerushalayim? The souls before it comes down to this world. Remember, there was a conversation. Our soul is here. We're black, and we say to the souls in Gan Eden, listen, I know we're black, but we're better than you. Why? Because since in this world we could earn money, right? We go to job and we give 20% tzedakah, and by bringing and giving 27% tzedakah, what do we do by that? We bring Hashem, Elokeinu, Melech HaOlam. So even though we're working with dirty work, what do I mean dirty work? Physical things in Gan Eden, they're not busy with, building roofs and building buildings and cleaning the laser machines. They don't do that in Gan Eden. But by me doing this dirty shachora, I'm more beautiful because I'm bringing down paroi, which is God himself, by me giving 20%. That's how I lift everything in the whole world becomes revealed. So even though I'm dealing with material grace, compared to Gan Eden, I'm dealing with such nonsense, but this is how I bring Hashem revealed here in this world. So I'm more beautiful. You get the idea or no? So
Why
let's...
is Pharaoh brought together with Hashem?
No, because Paro means to reveal. We're taking the word Paro not as a king. We're using it in the Hebrew as Hashem becomes revealed.
When we're saying that that Aaron brought
No, it's just there's just an example that the word Paro means revelation. It's not has nothing to do with Aaron.
No revelation.
Nothing. It's just just irrelevance. It's just showing you what the root of Paro means. Paro means revealed. That's what Paro, like leparua, to reveal. So let's read inside this paragraph, and we're also going to discuss the 4 yads, the 4 hands.
How many pages is it?
It's 1 page for now, and then there's the next page. Yeah. Oh no, 32. It's 30.
How do we get there?
You turn.
Open 1 page. Open 1 page.
Nothing there.
1 page.
Number
3. Number 3.
Can't see the number.
Okay.
You see it? Let me see. Come here. Let me see.
No, flip it. Yeah.
No, here.
the number?
Right here.
One page.
Got it.
Vizehu, let's read it inside. It's 3 paragraphs on the top. Vizehu unesatem chamishis lepari. We're going to read this in a few weeks.
Got it.
The week after Hanukkah. You give a 5th to Pari. What does it mean? When a person gives a 5th, 20% from what he earns, what do you accomplish by giving 20%? You're bringing Hashem revealed so whenever you give 20% of your earnings to tzedakah, you're bringing Hashem revealed on your nefesh. When you give the 20%, God is revealed in you. And what do you account? And that's why before every mitzvah we say, what do we say? Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu. Why do we say Baruch? What does Baruch mean? Nimshach oirein say Baruch. Baruch means we draw down the infinite light of Hashem oilam. Vad oilam v'chinas ata dahainu v'chinas gilui. We bring Hashem revealed in this world in a revealed way that you could say ata. What does ata mean? You. That means that when you say you, it means it's right here. You don't say you on something that's not in front of you. So it means by me making a bracha, I'm bringing Hashem revealed down right here. Oh, so he says that God should become revealed in me. You want Hashem to be absorbed and be part of your nefesh, and you feel Hashem revealed in you. Now here's an interesting thing. It says after a person leaves this world, your neshama leaves this world, it says these are what the Gemara says in Gemara Psachim. Ashrei mi sheba lakan v'talmudai b'yadai. It says after 120 years, when your soul comes to Gan Eden, there's a voice coming out and saying, how great and lucky is the one that comes to Gan Eden and he has his Talmud in his hand, meaning the Torah that he studies is with him. What does that mean, with him? A person can sometimes be learning his whole lifetime, but it doesn't stick to him. It doesn't absorb in his nefesh. So he comes to Gan Eden and he's like empty. God looks at him. What happened? I thought you studied. But it didn't stick to him. It didn't connect to him. It didn't get absorbed. That's the difference between by a isha, when the zera comes, if she's not koletet a zera, if the seed doesn't get absorbed in the woman, then there's no child. Then it just goes out. So the same thing, a person can learn a whole lifetime Torah, but he doesn't have the Torah with him. because he didn't connect his neshama with the Torah. It was a nice intellectual thing. So I learned science and I learned math and I also learned Torah. So then it doesn't connect to you. When does Torah connect to you? When you make Torah that it's a godly nefesh, it's a godly experience. I'm not reading a history book. That's why every word in the Torah, when you read about Rivka and Yaakov, and she complained she has twins and she didn't know if it's not a story of a history. This is a godly message of life, of how we should experience our life, that every Jew has two souls in them, a godly soul, which is Yaakov, and an animal soul, which is Esav. Ula'oim, mil'oim yemots, they're always fighting, because no one can be on the same level. If one is on top, the other one is low, the other one is top, the other one is low. You can't have good and evil at the same path. So this story of Rivka is not a story of someone give birth to twins. I don't need the Torah to tell me about someone give birth to twins. But the Torah is giving us a message that every Jew has twins in them. Just like Rivka carried twins, we have twins in us. We have a godly soul and an animal soul. And this is the fight that we're always fighting. And the Torah gives us the remedy in the parsha of this week, how we could deal to always overcome and use the godly soul to make the animal soul work together. That's this parsha. So therefore, when you learn Torah in that way, it becomes absorbed in your nefesh. So then when your nefesh leaves this world, you have the whole Talmud with you. You get the idea? So he says, now what does it say in the Torah? After you give 20%, what happens with the other 4/5?
Yeah.
Look what he says. Va'arba hayodos yil lochem. This is the Torah writes. The other 4/5 will be yours. So 20% you give to Hashem, and the other 4/5 become yours. But what does it mean, the other 4/5 become yours? Look what he says. What does Arba Hayodot mean? There's 4 expressions in the Torah about hands. Yad HaGdola. Gdola means the big hand. Yad HaChazaka, the strong hand. Yad Rama. Rama means like uplifting. Uzroya Hanetuya, the outstretched arm. So what does that mean? That those 4 become yours. These 4 different types of hands become yours. The strong hand becomes yours. The big hand becomes yours. The uplift, what does it mean? Look what he says. Yod Hagdoila. What is the big hand in the next column? Mashikosav Haya Yisrael Es Hayad Hagdoila Asher Asa Hashem Mitzrayim. Where does it say in the Torah, the big hand? It says when we went by the sea, the Jews saw the big hand that Hashem did with Mitzrayim. What do you mean the big hand? They saw the miracles that Hashem did in Mitzrayim. What does it mean in a spiritual sense? Wow, when I give 1/5 of my earnings to tzedakah, you know what the first thing that's going to happen to me? Shafilu b'vchinas Mitzrayim. Yesh b'chinas hamshochas v'hispashas b'chinas hayad hagdoila shenimshecha v'nispasha ad lamata afilu b'chinas zayin chesed el kachach afilu b'chinas nefesh hashvelim v'gatchem hasila neifel ha'tshuva. Guess what happens? When you give 1/5 to tzedakah, so all of a sudden you're going to have this big hand revealed in you. What is this big hand? What happened by Mitzrayim when they saw the big hand? Hashem was revealed and they saw all the miracles and they had awe and respect to Hashem. That means that Hashem is going to become revealed in you even in Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim means the lowest part of you. Because Mitzrayim comes from the word Meitzar or Gvul. Like limitations, boundaries, struggles, temptations, lust, all our animal things. But by me giving 20% to tzedakah, the first thing that I'll get is the Yad Hagdola, that God will be revealed in me, and all of a sudden, in my mind comes Hirure Tshuva. I want to do Tshuva all of a sudden. What happened? You gave 20% to tzedakah, and all of a sudden you want to eat kosher. What is the 20% of tzedakah got to do with kosher?
No, but the 80%
But if you're already religious and keep kosher and everything,
So then there's a higher level. The tshuva could be that I shouldn't talk during davening. I mean, there's all kinds of levels in tshuva. Different levels, yeah. I'm just.
The message is clear. The minute you give 20% to the tzedakah, the 80%, okay, become the racha.
Oh, so he said he divides the 80% in four. He's going to tell you the 4 blessings you get. The first blessing is Hashem becomes revealed in your low life, in your lowest level, like Mitzrayim.
Correct.
And all of a sudden you start to think about tshuva. It could be, I gave an example of kosher, it could be anything. Any little thing that you're struggling with, and all of a sudden, I think I should change you gave 20%, also what happened? Because Arba Hayados, by giving the 20%, all of a sudden Hashem is revealed, and the big hand of Hashem becomes revealed in your Egypt, in your body, and all of a sudden you start to think about tshuva. You got the first hand? Now look at the next one. We have a problem. Achine Noida in this week's Parsha told out, what does it say? Mil'oim yematz. What's oim loim yematz? That your animal soul, I said you're twins. You have your animal soul and your godly soul, and they're always fighting. But if the godly soul wins, then the animal soul is down. If the animal soul is up, the godly soul, there's no such a thing you could live with both. It's either the godly soul is dominating or it's the animal soul. It's not like, okay, we'll live in peace. There's no ceasefire. It's either the godly soul, you know what I'm saying? It's either the godly soul or it's the animal soul. So therefore, what do I need? Okay, I have this thoughts of tshuva now. I have a problem. I want to do tshuva, but I'm struggling because I have an animal soul. So what's the second thing I have? Yad HaChazaka. The second hand is the strong hand. What does Hashem do? He gives you, look what he says. If God doesn't help you, you'll never overcome your animal soul. Do you have it here?
Yeah.
Nikra Yad HaChazaka lenatseach v'lichbosh. So the first thing is the Yad HaGdolah. God is revealed in you. And all of a sudden you want to be a better person. The problem is, you have an animal soul, and the animal soul is shooting bullets on you and missiles on you and trying to stop you from doing anything good. Hashem, I want to do tshuva, but I can't. So Hashem says, I'm giving you one more thing. Yad HaChazaka, the second 20%. There's 20%. Which is, I'm giving you the strength to overcome the animal soul. Yeah? Now what happens? What's the third hand? Once I overcome the animal soul, so now, look, I have the thought of tshuva, I overcome my animal soul, now I could lift my neshama to love Hashem. The Yad Rama, what's Yad Rama? Uplift. L'romem, nainu l'roimem, or l'kasher, nafshay, v'yahavta b'chol avavcha. What do we say in the Shema? V'yahavta, you should love Hashem with both hearts. Well, you have 2 hearts. Why 2 hearts? You have your godly soul and you have your animal soul. After Yad HaGdolah and Yad HaChazaka, now I could get to lift up my animal soul, that my animal soul says, I love Hashem. I don't want ice cream anymore. Sushi, forget about. I want to learn Torah or on Shir Hashirim. The animal soul says that. Oh, and then what gets to the next yad? Zoraya Anatuya. Look at a hand. He says, it's unbelievable how he connects every part. In your hand, there's 3 parts. This part is called Zroya. From here to here is called Zroya. And then from here to here, 3 parts. So when I say Zroya Hanatuya, I don't mean this part. I don't mean this, I mean this part, right here.
It's all down.
This part is up. What do you mean it's stretched out? What Hashem does is, once you went through these 3 yads, Hashem sticks out his arm and he's hugging you. Look, like this. With this arm, he's like hugging you. So you shouldn't fall. You shouldn't fall back. Because sometimes you get excited, you do tshuva, and you're getting closer, and you love Hashem, and then afterwards you fall down. So he holds you like this, zroya hanetuya, with his zroya. Don't fall. I have you. You're good. You're in good shape. And this all counts somehow. What happened? Since I gave 20% to Pare, what do you mean Pare to Hashem? So all of a sudden, Arba Yados Yelachem. It's gonna bend. I'm gonna have now 4 hands to help me. What did they do with the 4? Lezera Asada. They took seeds to plant the. You know what Lezera Asada means? Shebezman HaGolut, in this time of Golut, the last 2,000 years, Hakol B'chinezriya. Well, why did Hashem send us to this world? He planted us like seeds. He puts one in Haworth, one in Kreskel, one in Denifly, and he plants Jewish people to bring the light of Hashem in that part of the world. So now, till this piece, we understand something very clear. Even though I'm black, I'm living in this world. I have an animal soul. I have all the temptations, but if I give,
If I give 20%.
If I give 20%, I'm nicer than better than you. So till now we dealt with tzedakah and mitzvot. Now he's going to take the same concept, but going to use it in learning Torah. Meaning, the souls in Gan Eden, they learn Torah a whole day. In Gan Eden, what do you do a whole day in Gan Eden? You're learning Torah. But the soul coming to this world, which we're going to learn in a minute, learns Torah here and does mitzvot only here. You can't do mitzvot in Gan Eden and you can't learn Torah. So the soul says to the neshama of Gan Eden, Yerushalayim, says, listen, down here it's very dark, it's very black, but I want to tell you something. By me living in this world, in this dark world, and I learned the Torah on a lower level, I'm much higher than you. Why? So now comes Uvchines HaTorah. You get it? So till now we spoke about tzedakah. Now we're going to learn about Torah. But it's the same concept. I'm black, but beautiful. I'm dark, but shining. And that's why we're here in this world. So what do you think the soul, where does the soul want to be? There or here? Well, the Torah says a very strange thing. On one hand, the soul doesn't want to be here because it's a challenging life. It's not easy to always, remember to bring the light and give 20% and learn Torah and everything. But if you're able to do it, it's worth it. It's worth the challenge.
Yeah.
If not...
I don't want to be here, but you want to be here only for Hashem, not for itself. For itself, it don't want to be here.
Exactly, but for Hashem, it's worth it.
Honestly, nobody has to be here.
No.
I don't remember I asked to be here.
You should, Baruch Hashem didn't ask, or else. Yeah?
The soul
It wasn't my choice.
cannot elevate in the upper worlds.
Nothing.
The soul can only elevate higher and higher if he's in this world.
100%.
You can't worship God from the grave.
100%.
So
Yeah.
it's better to be on this world.
100%.
Shama, until it reaches a highest plane, where maybe it will never come back to this earth.
Yeah.
The soul always comes back to this earth while it's still transforming.
Uvchines HaTorah, you read Ois Gimel, the next Ois? Shehib Chines Chayra, V'alachos v'dikduk Kesem Shemel says. Now we're going to come up to a new concept. It's going to be an interesting concept because that's not how you grow up. But in Kabbalah Chassidut, they speak a lot about it in a good way, which is called, there's 2 types of mitzvahs. There's positive mitzvahs, and there's lo sese, don't do, like prohibitions. Like don't eat.
But they're all positive.
I know, but there's the
ultimate
positive.
result.
Yeah. So that's called now. Interesting thing. So you have 248 positive and 365 prohibitions. It's called loisesa. Then we have another concept. It's called divrei sofrim. You know what divrei sofrim is? All the rabbinic laws.
7.
No, rabbinic laws, not the mitzvahs.
Oh, okay.
There's thousands, millions of them. Like on Shabbos,
What else did they do?
there's 39 prohibitions of malachot, but then there's thousands of divrei sofrim. Divrei sofrim means
That's why
chachamim
people
can't handle it. Yeah, it's too much. Yeah, too much. But it's called in the Torah language, in Talmud, whenever they speak about the rabbinic laws, they don't call it Rabbanan, they call it Divrei Sofrim. The words of the scribe, the scribe, the people that write. So look what he says here. The Torah, Hashem said in Shir Hashirim, it's sweeter for me, the rabbis' mitzvahs, than my mitzvahs. So that means there's 613 mitzvahs in the Torah. 248 positive, 365. The rabbinic ones, which is more, much more, is for Hashem sweeter and better than his mitzvahs. Why? What happened? It says in Sefer Yetzirah, Hashem created the world with three things. Sefer, Sofer, V'Sipur. Everyone knows this one or no?
No?
Sefer is the book. Sofer is the scribe. And Sipur is what the book is telling you.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
So you have three things to create the world. But listen to this, guys. Chevra. Sefer zu Torah shebachsav. Sefer is the written Torah. Because the written Torah is a sefer, it's a book. V'sofer, there's a scribe that writes, right? The scribe is higher than the book. The book is already written. So when I say sofer, is l'mayla b'china sefer. The sofer has to be above the book. What is above the book? Torah shebal peh, the oral Torah of the Chachamim. They're higher than the written Torah. L'chein nikra, that's why the divrei Chachamim are called divrei sofrim, shein l'mayla b'china sefer. They're above the written Torah. Hu b'chinas Torah shebachsav, she b'chinas nei mitzvah Torah. So what is he saying here? You have the Hashem says, I created the world with three things: a scribe, a book, and the story of the book. What does it mean? This book is the Torah, the written Torah. The story of the book is everything that's written in the written Torah. And who's the scribe? The Chachamim. They're the scribes. So they're higher than the book.
You refer to Torah Be'al Peh?
Yeah, that's all the Chachamim.
But don't they have to have the right intention and the right thinking, the right kavanah when they're writing?
Of course, no, 100%, no.
Every single mark.
Yeah, but there's two things. There's writing the written Torah,
Yeah.
and then there's the scribe, that he's a scribe that didn't yet write anything because it's oral.
The interpretation.
You get what I just said?
Moses, when he went to the Talmud, the story when he asked
Rabbi Akiva.
Rabbi Akiva, he said, Tashkuchu. He saw everything and said, did I say all this? Yes, you did.
But let me just I just want to show you how the rabbinic laws in the Torah come from a much higher level than the written Torah.
Okay.
So let's say, I'll give you just one example, just a rabbinic law, okay? On Shabbos, you're not allowed to cook on Shabbos. Okay, so what does it mean cooking on Shabbos? You take a fire, right? And you're cooking food. Now what happens if I'm not taking a fire cook? I take, let's say, a pitcher of hot water, and I pour it in a cup. I pour it in a cup. And now I want to put coffee in the cup and sugar in the cup. And could I do that? So the Chachamim say that you have to do, it's called kli sheni, kli shlishi, which is, let's say I take from the pot and I pour it in the cup, it's still hot that it could cook the coffee. So put the water from this cup into another cup, it's called kli sheni, kli shlishi, and now you can put the coffee in. Now, biblically, that's not the cooking. The cooking is when it's on the fire. But since it has the heat is still there, so the Chachamim say as long as it goes through another, it goes through to another vessel, it cools it off, so it's not as hot, and therefore you could put the coffee in there.
They call it a loophole.
No, it's a loophole is when you're looking a way out. Chachamim are making it more on a higher level. They're bringing out a much deeper level in Torah that the written Torah couldn't do. So we have a lot of these kind of things, like even with meat and milk. The Torah only says you can't eat meat and milk. What did the Chachamim say? Chicken and milk also not. They made chicken. So what's more stringent, meat and milk or chicken and milk? Well, more stringent is meat and milk, because meat and milk is written in the Torah, and chicken and milk is rabbinic. But Hashem says the rabbinic laws for me is sweeter, and I cherish it more than the biblical law of meat and milk. I cherish more the chicken and milk.
That's why.
Because the Chachamim that made these laws, they're called Sofrim.
Okay.
They're the scribe. They're above the book.
Okay.
So I like getting from above the book because it's higher than the book. Mm-hmm. The book is the written Torah. The Chachamim are above the book. Now it's interesting, the Talmud says when you carry a Torah in a shul, you're supposed to stand. Mm-hmm. When they carry the Torah in the shul. So the Talmud says, I don't understand. When they carry a Torah in the shul, everyone stands. And when the rabbi, the Chachamim, like the real Chachamim, come in the shul, no one is standing. If you stand for a Torah, for sure you should stand for the rabbi, because the rabbi is higher than the Torah.
Yeah.
They're Sofrim.
Yeah.
But you're not higher than the Torah.
They're Sofrim, the scribes, not us. We're not, I'm talking about the Sofrim, the ones that...
Maybe they should. Like, I think we should stand for Shema. The most important bracha. We don't stand for it, we sit.
But the Shema is in the written Torah. I was thinking about the oral Torah.
No, the Shema is in the Torah.
In the written Torah.
Yeah, 100%.
I was thinking about the oral Torah is higher than the Shema. The Talmud.
So let me ask you a question.
The Talmud is even higher. Wait, let's just finish this. This is a paragraph.
Okay.
Now, why is it higher? This is an interesting thing. I don't know how it works in science. I was trying to figure out if it scientifically works. When you have a candle, if you light a candle, you'll see, he says, there's two parts of the fire. There's the fire that's right near the wick, and then there's a fire above the wick.
Different color.
You'll see it.
And it's more hot.
The fire on top is more like yellowish, I think.
Right.
The one near the wick is more like bluish, whatever it's called. So he says, which one gives the light? Because fire gives light. Is it the fire that's the higher fire that's further away from the wick, or the fire that's closer to the wick? Which one gives the light?
The further one.
So look what he says, a strange thing. But did you know this? In fire, the fire that's near the candle is what gives the light, and the fire that's above is the source of the fire that's near the candle that gives the light. But the light comes from the fire that's closer to the wick.
It's like the sun, no?
Exactly, that's what he wants to say. Interesting, no? It's I don't know, because in scientific, it sounds maybe that the fire that's further away from the wick gives the light. But he says, no, that's the source. The light comes from the fire that's close to the wick.
It has to breathe the
It has to breathe the oxygen. Okay, so what does he say? Elu makor v'kachen divrei chachamim. when we read the Talmud is the Chachamim, it's called Divrei Sefer. Why? Shemehem nimshach li'espchinas hasefer. From the Chachamim comes the book, which is Pchinas Torah Or, Ve'em Pchinas Mekor Or. They are the source of the Torah. Pchinas Hamakiv. Now, to make it more practical, I'll tell you why I think it also makes a lot of sense. If you wouldn't have the Chachamim, and you would just take the Torah, the written Torah, you wouldn't know what it's really telling you. What did the Chachamim do? They took every word of the Torah and they showed you the many layers that's in every word. So they brought the light to the book. Without them, I'm reading, it's like I tell people in shul always, after they read okay, today we thank God we have a chumash that's translated better. Yeah. But years ago we had in shul a chumash that just translates word for word of the literal. The problem is you're not really understanding what the chumash is saying, because if you're not learning the Rashi, you're not learning, you're not getting the you're totally off. So the Chachamim, let's take Rashi. Okay, let's take Rashi, because Rashi is a Chacham. Okay,
Rashi is not enough.
Right, but let's just take Rashi. Without Rashi, the Torah is dark. We all agree on that?
Yeah.
So what does Rashi do? Rashi is like the source, the sofer, the scribe, that now is giving you the book and telling you what the book is saying. He's bringing light to these words in the book, and now I can understand something what it says here.
So the Torah is the further light from the week?
Exactly. And the Torah is the
source.
The Torah, the blue light.
Yeah, it's the source.
The Sofrim is the further light.
The other light.
No, but you said the light that gives the light is closer to the
wick.
Right?
That's the Torah.
So that's what gives the light.
Right, but the Chachamim are the source of getting the Torah to give the light. So the light, the fire that's further from the wick is the Chachamim.
That's the source?
That's the source. And what's their job? They bring oxygen, and they bring this, so now you could read the Torah and now it's lit. You get what happens? That they're bringing light to the Torah. Torah Or. V'lochein, he says, most of the laws of the rabbis, if you look at all the Chachamim, most of them is loisesa. There's not so much in the essay. Why? Most of the sages' laws is all about adding to what not to do. You getting what I'm trying to say? Like, there's hundreds of laws on Shabbos, more than what the Torah says, that the Chachamim say, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. They're more in the don't. There's not so many laws of the rabbis of to do. It's more of, oh, don't do that. We're making another fence, don't do that. Making another fence, don't do that. Another thing, don't do that. No. There's a lot of no's. Why? Because what's a higher level? The no's of the Torah or the yeses of the Torah?
The no's.
Well, you said
No.
Usually the yes is easier.
No, not the no's of the Torah. You said are a higher level.
Oh, look at this. Cheveh, look at this. I'll tell you why. Ki bechinas mitzvahs loisese, what not to do, yesh behen yisr no maila yiseder mitzvahs aseh. That all the laws in the Torah of not doing, like don't kill, don't steal, don't eat non-kosher, don't kill, that's higher than putting on tefillin. Why? Why is that? Ki zichri im vavke ramach, shmi im yudke shin samachei, shalois eseb chenes yudke l'maylam vavke. Are you familiar with this one or no? No, this isn't Chumash. In Chumash it says like this. When Moshe came to take the Bnei Yisrael Mitzrayim, he was standing by the burning bush. And they were talking, and Moshe says, I don't want to do it, and the whole line of Moshe said. By the end, Moshe said, okay, after 7 days, he said, Hashem, whatever, I'm not going to argue. You want me, I'll do it. What do I tell the Jewish people? What do you want me to tell them? Right. And what should I say? What do you want me to do? It says, go tell them I want to take them out of Mitzrayim. But what's your name? What's your name? So the Torah says a very strange thing there. It says, Zeh Shmi Lo'olam V'zeh Zichri L'dor V'dor. This is my name forever, and this is my remembrance for generation to generation. What does that mean? Because today, in our generations, in the last 3,000 years, we never say Hashem's name. That when I say Hashem's name, I mean Yud. Yeah, Yud, Hey, Vav, K. We never pronounce.
We don't know how to say it.
Yeah, we don't pronounce it.
The rest of the letters we don't know.
We don't. Yeah, I was saying we don't pronounce Yud, K, Vav, K. How do we pronounce it? Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud. So when I see in the Torah Yud, K, Vav, K, I don't pronounce it Yud, K, Vav, K. What do I pronounce? So the Torah. So this is what Hashem tells Moshe: Zeh Shmi, Yud, K, Vav, K. That's my name. But V'zeh Zichri, when you want to remember me and like pronounce me, you're going to have to say Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud. You can't say Yud, K, Vav, K. So now, take the word Shmi, and take the words, Shmi means my name, and Zichri means to remember me, right? Shmi, the word Shmi adds up how much? 350. Shin is 300. Mem is 40. And Yud is 10. That's 350. Plus 15 is how much? 365. How many prohibitions are there in the Torah? 365. What's the 15? The first two letters of Hashem. Yud is 10 and Hey is 5. So let's do it again. Hashem's name has 4 letters. Yud, Hey, and then has a Vav and a Hey. Yud and Hey is the higher level of Hashem's name, and Vav and Hey is the lower level. Because it all goes by levels. Yud is 10 and Hey is 5. So if I take the word Shmi, which is my name, which is 350 plus 15, I have 365, which is the 365 Lo Sesa, the prohibitions in the Torah.
So that's why they are higher.
Oh, 1 second. Now let's take Zichri. Zichri is not Hashem's name, it's how you pronounce Hashem, which is Aleph Dalet. So the word Zichri is Zayin Chaf Reish Yud. So how much is Zayin Chaf Reish Yud? Reish is 200. Yud is 10. Chaf is 20, so it's 230. Plus 237? Am I right? Zichri is 237, no? 237. Now, the last 2 letters of Hashem's name is Vav K. How much is Vav? 6. How much is 5? Is 11. How much is 237 and 11?
68.
No, 237 plus 11, 248. What is that? The 248 positive mitzvahs. So the 365 prohibitions, that's Yudke. That's Shmi. That's God Himself. And the 248, that's Zichri. That's Vavke, that's the lower level. So 248 positive is a lower level. 365 is a higher level. Why is that? Because I'll tell you why. Let's think about it. When I do a mitzvah, I'm creating a vessel. I put on tefillin, I create a vessel. I give tzedakah, I create a vessel. I light candles, I create a vessel. When I create a vessel, so then the light of Hashem that shines is only how much the vessel could hold. Aloy Sesa is not, I'm not doing anything. It's what I'm not doing anything. So there's no limit. There's no vessel to limit it. Because it's what I'm not doing.
So it's better not to do anything.
No.
This way it's unlimited.
It's how I'm expressing my connection to Hashem by not doing anything. Meaning, I'm holding myself in and I'm not going to steal. But I didn't do a proactive act to make a vessel. It's my refraining from doing something I shouldn't do. So there's no vessel, so it's infinite. Also think about it. It's much easier for a person to do a proactive mitzvah than to listen what not to do.
Yeah.
It's much harder when Hashem says, don't do this. Or you tell your children, don't eat that. Well, Tati, I know better, you know. But if you say to your child, okay, let's have some ice cream, whatever. It's proactive. Okay, it's easier. You have to break your animal more to hold yourself in from doing something you shouldn't do than to do a positive. So like, if you want to get a Jew to get a little closer to Hashem, you don't start off and tell him, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Then he's gone. You're not going to see him forever. You come, let's have some gefilte fish. Let's make kiddush. Let's do a mitzvah. That's how we get them in. And then another mitzvah. Let's give 20% to tzedakah. Start the positive ones.
I'm not sure that the fish is...
I mean, Ashkenazi or Sard, Well, I'm giving an example. So he's giving. No, he knows. He's also kidding. So we're both kidding that we're kidding. So it's a higher level. So the point here is. Chevra. The point is when you do a loisa, so you're reaching a higher level, right? Which is the level Yud. Okay. Now the Chachamim, we said, all the sages' mitzvos are sofrim. They're the ones that are the scribes. So they're higher than the written Torah. Yeah. So most of the mitzvahs of the sages are what not to do. You getting a little what I'm saying? There's very little of the sages what to do. There's only like 7. Like reading the Megillah, lighting Hanukkah candles. Those are positive rabbinic mitzvahs. Lighting Shabbos candles is rabbinic. It's not written in the Torah. Even though Rivka lit Shabbos candles, but it was rabbinic. Reading the Megillah, washing your hands before you eat. There's only 7 mitzvahs of the rabbis that are positive. All hundreds of thousands are all, don't do this, don't eat chicken, don't eat milk, the whole thing. Aval haloi sesa. So let's read it inside. Ki hamitzvos asay hemechnes shem vavke. Do you have that or no? Alma des Galia, the revealed world. Kiramach bikudim 248 mitzvahs. Ramach Evar and the Malka, they're the 248 limbs of God. Shem Kalim, they are vessels. Every mitzvah is a vessel. Umishkan lahachayus, to the energy. Hanimshach umespashad be'emetz hanefesh. Shachayis meslav shamam shal yislav nishman tzene. That is the positive mitzvahs. Aval haloi sesa. The prohibitions have Yud-Kei. That's a higher level. They're the level of Yud-Kei, which we said Shmi and Yud-Kei is 365. Shubchinis Alma Deskasa. She'en achayis v'arnim so chinis zul m'slav gul nefesh chinis helem. V'chinis l'fi she'en ben nefesh kli, because we don't have an ability in our soul to make a vessel. La'ashras orein seh v'chinis zul v'yiz v'chinis gilu b'slav s'mamish. Ela v'chinis shlila. The only thing we could do is not. Loi. But it's loy zerua. Zerua b'chinis loy. It says a midbar is eretz loy zerua. So normally it's a negative. It's a land that you can't plant in it. So he says no. Loy zerua means it's such a high level that the only way to connect to Hashem is by loy, is by the no. That's how you get. The Rambam says there's 2 ways of knowing Hashem. There's trying to understand something of Hashem. You try to understand what Hashem does, what Hashem is, doing, constantly creating the world. But then, how much could you understand of Hashem? It's very limited. We're human. But then there's called Yidiyat Hashlila. What does Yediyat HaShlila mean? I come to a realization that whatever level I understand Hashem, that's not it.
Yeah.
Hashem is not that. And then I get to a high level, He's not that. I get a high level, He's not that. He's even above that. Meaning, whatever level I'm reaching, it's not this, it's not that, it's not that. He's much higher than that.
Basically, what he's trying to say, it's you can't define it. You can't. There is no. Everything that we read and everything that is written is just, to try to simplify it to a human being to understand something. But you can. There is no word.
Nothing.
Yeah.
That's funny because also all the claims after October 7th that you see that when the Jews weren't on the land of Israel was a marsh. There was nothing there. It was a desert. It was nothing. Only when the Jews came back, it became milk and honey.
It's not correctly, but never mind.
Okay, Shemoishin is bar b'makamacha.
Desert was a desert.
Not a desert.
No, he's speaking about the rest.
What are you talking about?
Okay, Shehu, let's just finish this piece and then we'll stop. Shehei Nekas Nefesh, it's the second column. Here. Uchamoishin is bar b'makamacha, shezeu in dvikas nefesh. That means when you do a loisesa. Is shlemayla b'shosh ch'nesevev, ch'nechoshech v'lo nigla, shief shal geb ch'nezu ch'nes ma'isa mitzvahs. You can't reach this high level through proactive mitzvahs, el ch'nes loisesa. The only way you can reach this high level of, you remember we said the dark that's above light? Mm-hmm. The only way you can reach the dark above light is by not doing. Mm-hmm. Then you reach the dark that's above light, which is when you do loisesa, you add all of ruach mardim. Hashem will bring on you a very high level of hashros in soiv baruch hu, which is soiv of kalamim. And by doing all the loisesa, tis'alek gam nefshe bahamis. Your animal soul is going to be elevated. Kini nefesh bahamis. Where does your animal soul come from? Pnei aye, pnei shor. And like it says, Kini asrofim, kodesh. We spoke about the two different types of angels. There's angels called Ophanim, and there's angels called Srafim. Mm-hmm. The Srafim, they're like the higher angels. Ophanim are the lower angels. But the Ophanim, they scream, Kadosh, Kadosh, because they want to get higher, but they're so far removed. Because Kavodah represents the 32 level roads, paths of Chachma. So basically what he's saying is that the soul in this world tells the soul in that world, listen, you don't have anything to do with the loiseh says. In Gan Eden, there's no such a thing, don't kill. In Gan Eden, there's no such a thing, don't steal. There's no such a thing, don't, eat nag. Yeah. There's no loiseh says. So even though I'm in this dark world, but I'm going to reach to such a high level of godliness because I'm dealing with loy, which gets me to the Yud-K, which is higher than the Vav-K, so I'm going to get to a level of godliness higher than the souls that are in Gan Eden. Because I'm constantly dealing with not to do, and by reaching that, I reach the dark that's above light that you guys in Gan Eden don't even know. You only have light. I'm reaching the dark above light. The darkness is above light. So there's two things we're telling the Neshamot in Gan Eden. You guys are Yerushalayim. I'm the black one, but by giving tzedakah, I'm higher, and by learning Torah and doing mitzvahs, which mitzvahs? Especially the loiseh, and especially the rabbinic, I'm far beyond you. I'm already Yud-K. I'm already the dark that's above light. That's the response that we're giving. Shchoirani v'nava, how much beautiful. V'hinei loy b'rash Hashem. V'acharash eish b'chtzemois shukah b'chleis nefesh mamash k'nes bitul v'zgal v'nsei l'mayla b'chdei shetuchal nafshem seis v'tzimam v'chukah zu einem k'nes kvedei el k'nes hashemayim v'sadni malei ha'nashos ha'yasel kol almim. This is basically, let's just go down to the bottom of that page. You see on that just go like 3 paragraphs down where it says V'zeu shchoira ani venova. Shal yidei b'china shchoira. What's shchoira mean? Shchoira means shchoira means dark. Shchoira. No, not shchoira. It was a samach. Shchoira. Dark. By doing the prohibitions, which is shchoiris ka'erev, which is dark like a raven, we're going to have gilu oirin seiv baruchu aseva kalam shel ma'al ged olam. We're going to have the revelation of Hashem, which is above the worlds. It's more than your soul can handle. And in this level, Nava Yosef, we're beautiful more than B'nai Yerushalayim, than the souls that are in Gan Eden. So that's basically the concept. So we could close the recording. Who wants to give 20%?